Welcome to the Asian Idols channel. I'm Cherry. Today, our video features the following exciting content. What do you think about
Luo
this
Jin
topic?
appears exhausted on stage as state media mentions him twice in 12 hours, exposing his disfiguring dedication to the role. Have you seen the recent photos of Luo Jin at his new drama's promotional event? I honestly didn't recognize him at first glance. It was shocking. On December 1st, he appeared on stage dressed in black, a cap pulled low, beard unshaven, eyes bloodshot, and his back slightly hunched. People in the audience whispered, "Is that really Luo Jin? How did he become so gaunt?" Just days earlier, his father had passed away. Before that, the internet was flooded with rumors about a supposed marital crisis between him and Tang Yan, stories about a year-and-a-half separation and business decoupling, fabricated with astonishing confidence. And yet, the truth couldn't have been more different. His father had been gravely ill for over a year, and Luo Jin had turned down all work to stay in Beijing and care for him. Tang Yan stayed in Shanghai with their child. Their separation was nothing more than dividing responsibilities within a family. At the funeral, Tang Yan stood beside him in plain mourning clothes, holding his mother's arm. Those silent images spoke louder than any statement. But merely 10 days after the funeral, Luo Jin had to force himself back into work, standing under the lights for promotion events. He'd lost weight, his clothes hung loose, and his voice was hoarse. When someone suggested he put on makeup to look less tired, he waved it off. No need. Staying real is better. Then came the unexpected. Within just 12 hours, his disheveled appearance was highlighted and recognized by two major state media outlets, CCTV Entertainment and People's Entertainment. A rare moment, an actor, at the lowest point of his personal life and at his least polished, receiving the highest level of professional recognition. The contrast was striking. A closer look revealed that his haggard appearance wasn't just that of personal grief. For his character Fu Yudong in the new drama 10,000 Kilometers of Time Difference, a former overseas PhD who ends up working as a renovation laborer, Luo Jin deliberately lived on a construction site to absorb the environment, the paint smell, the noise, the posture of manual labor. The beard, the lower gaze, the slightly bent back, every detail was part of his study. This brought to mind a comment made by actress Miao Tu long ago: Luo Jin treats his roles more seriously than he treats himself. At the time, it sounded like polite praise. Today, it reads like prophecy fulfilled. In an industry where professionalism is often just a buzzword in press releases, Luo Jin demonstrated its harshest, purest form. While mourning his father, while weathering baseless gossip, he still managed to throw himself entirely into the reality of a small, struggling character. This kind of dedication is almost brutal, and incredibly rare. We often talk about belief in acting. But belief isn't imagining a dragon in front of a green screen. Real belief is when your personal life is collapsing, yet you can enter another character's broken world with fresh pain and precision. This time, Luo Jin did exactly that during the roadshow. When someone asked about his family, he began, "My dad used to tell me," and abruptly choked up, covering his face as he tried to regain composure. But when the topic shifted to Fu Yudong, his eyes brightened. He explained how he learned electrical and carpentry skills, how he changed his posture and walking style for the role. A fan captured him backstage, standing quietly in a corner for several seconds before lifting his head and walking back into the crowd. That moment was deeply moving. He pressed down his grief and pushed the character, Fu Yudong, forward instead of himself. This is the paradox of public life. People crave authenticity from celebrities, yet when that authenticity becomes raw and painful, many can't handle it, choosing instead to fabricate dramatic narratives. Luo Jin and Tang Yan chose none of that. They simply lived their lives. No performative happiness, no public explanations. When his father's condition worsened, Luo Jin nearly withdrew from the industry. Tang Yan slowed down her career. Instead of empathy, they were met with speculation and mockery. As if a couple must advance together every year to be considered stable, a logic both absurd and cruel. Their steadiness comes precisely from ignoring these outside scripts. During the peak of the divorce rumors, neither of them said a word. Only at the funeral, when Tang Yan quietly stood beside him, did the rumors collapse like a receding tide. The 2 rounds of recognition from state media were meaningful. They didn't praise him with cliché terms like explosive acting or breakthrough image. CCTV quoted his own description of Fu Yudong as someone who does not self-consume, and People's Entertainment followed up. The order mattered. First the role, then the man. Reserved, but weighty. What they acknowledged was not a passing on the line topic, but a long-term river of professional consistency. This consistency isn't new. During Legend of Mugen, he performed many of the fight scenes without a stunt double. For Royal Nirvana, he studied tea ceremony and ancient etiquette to build a scholar's temperament, wrestling with classical Chinese scripts for months. For I Will Find You a Better Home, he experienced real estate work firsthand, standing in the summer heat handing out flyers, learning rejection and forced politeness. He always chooses the hardest road, the one where you feel the texture of a character by touching the world they live in. No flashy promotions, minimal social media presence, almost like a fringed figure. But his roles, one after another, stand solidly. Liu Ying in Beauty's Rival in Palace, the tragic Crown Prince Xiao Dingquan in Royal Nirvana, the gentle Su Wencheng in I Will Find You a Better Home, and now the worn, humble Fu Yudong. A makeup artist once said Luo Jin in real life is drastically different from his on-screen image, gentle, respectful, almost soft-spoken. Yet for a role in What the Heart Sees, he transformed himself into someone others would call disturbing, adjusting speech, posture, even the intensity of his eyes. This is what a real actor looks like, not relying on a handsome face, but willing to tear himself apart to enter a role. So when he shows up in the new drama with messy hair and dirty work clothes, shaping rice into a molecular activation birthday cake for a coworker, the absurd yet heartbreaking tone feels painfully real. In an environment where even beggars on screen wear flawless makeup, actors willing to truly destroy their own image are exceedingly rare. Audiences are smarter now, they won't buy beauty filters. At first, the internet pitied him. Once they learned it was for the role, that pity became respect. His father was a doctor, strict in discipline, sending him to martial arts school at 11 and even making him carry bricks at construction sites. Those experiences shaped his personality. When he commits to something, he simply lowers his head and marches forward. In today's fast-paced, traffic-driven entertainment industry, such stubbornness seems out of place. Yet it is precisely that stubbornness that made state media break their silence and allowed audiences, within 12 hours, to forget he was Luo Jin and see only Fu Yudong, the man tightening screws in a distant land. When the drama finishes airing, life will continue. Luo Jin will likely retreat again, returning to his quiet, almost hidden routine, waiting for the next role he can believe in. He won't announce what he's working on. He'll simply show up one day with a new face, one you might need a moment to recognize.
If this is your first time watching our channel, please hit the subscribe button to support us. Thank you.